What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports College Football Show. And we got the crew here today to talk some Week 0 CFB. Now, listen, this is not like the official open of college football, but it feels close enough. It's obviously not Georgia and Alabama and all those great schools playing, but still will be a good time. And let's bring in the crew. They're grinding some NFL preseason before, so they're up to date on all these guys, and they'll help you guys get those winners for Week 0. Let's bring you first in, Snyder. How's it going over there? And are you ready for the college football season to kind of kick off here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pumped for this season to come here. I've been waiting for quite a while. I hate to see summer leave, but right when summer's on its way out, we at least get some football in. So pumped to talk some foots here tonight with Bruce and Kurt and yourself. Looking for hopefully the big corn. Corn can win big tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, the Cornhuskers. We know you're a big Nebraska fan. You got the sweatshirt on representing. Let's bring in Bruce. You're the Texas guy, so no Texas on this slate for you, but you're a big college football guy. Obviously, you do tons of the content over here at Run Pure Sports. You're on the playbook. You'll have core plays. You'll have it all for us. The projections all up for the people. How pumped are you for the start of the season, Bruce?
I'm ready. I'm also excited to see the Corn play a little bit tomorrow with their new offensive coordinator. Just done a lot of research for the site, and just ready for the season to get fired up.
Oh no!
Well, sorry, I'm on mute, and oh man, my monitors are being a disaster today. So there's like a loose cord and everything's been a mess, but we're here. Kurt, I'm gonna go on over to you. You're a big West Virginia guy, but no West Virginia on this slate. You'll be grinding out this one. You got some takes for the people that I don't think they're expecting. So how are you doing, and how pumped are you for this Week 0 slate?
I'm so pumped. For someone who is a washed-up college football player, college basketball has been my niche. But I leaned on Bruce a lot last year and kind of just put my own little twist on things. And it was my second profitable college football season. So I'm ready to build on that. Like I said, I'm going to, in Bruce I trust, and just kind of put my own little twist on things, and then take what you guys got to say and mash it up together and get some winners.
Yeah, Bruce, I'm gonna kick it off to you first. The reason why I'm gonna kick it off to you is this was my kind of read when I first saw this slate. Does this slate sort of, and I know it's not perfect, right? But does it sort of remind you of last year's college football online final, right? There's one game that everyone just gravitating towards, right? And then what happened in that game? It was an absolute dud, right? It was like literally the stone worst. It didn't work out for people. That's how this slate feels. I mean, we can kick it off with at the top that game, right? I mean, it's Austin Peay, it's Western Kentucky, and it's a 66 total, and it's clearly the best one. It's the game that I think people are gravitating towards. Bruce, tell me a little bit about, one, do you agree with what I said? And two, how are you handling this game DFS-wise? Because, I mean, it's going to be a chalky slate, but we got to find ways to be different. We just can't play every play over 30%. You got to have some differentiators. So what's your thoughts here on this game and the slate in general?
Yeah, it does a little bit. There are a couple other games that I do like pieces from, at least. The only difference that I see is that this Western Kentucky team does like to spread the ball around quite a bit, and there's tons of different receiving options there. So you can kind of get different there at the receiver spot. They just have so many guys. We'll go over that later, but that's a spot you could get different without getting too different. A lot of times chalk does hit in college football. That's just because there's really good people, that tout this stuff, and that's just the way it is. But it's just the best way to get different, I think, on this slate is at wide receiver.
Yeah, no, that's a great point that you brought up there. Let's talk about this Western Kentucky side first. Obviously, Austin Reed is going to be one of the best quarterbacks on the slate. I mean, he's going to be a great option. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to him, I'm sure. But then from there, you can mix it up with some of these receivers, right? Like Corley, I think he's going to be a pretty good option, but he's 7.6K. David Davis is a screaming value at 4.8K. I actually think he comes in higher owned than Corley because that he's going to be one of the highest owned receivers just on the slate in general. So, if you did a Western Kentucky stack and you faded David Davis, well, that right there would make you different. Not saying you need to do it, but you could easily go about that route. You can go to a guy like Simon. I mean, there's so many different routes that you can go here. Bruce, how about you talk about these receivers? And then maybe there's like a running back that you could talk about too, as like the full-on leverage. Do you think the Western Kentucky running backs could leverage the quarterback and receivers as well? Because they are a favorite, right? And if you are a favorite, typically like we want to play these stacks when they're in games that are going to shoot out and go back and forth. When you're minus 27 favorite, I don't know if it's going to be as much of a shootout. You could just see him hand the ball off more, and then that fourth quarter is a bit lame. So what's your overall thoughts here on Western Kentucky, Bruce?
So if you look at Western Kentucky, they do bring in a new offensive coordinator, but he was already on the staff. He was an offensive assistant as well. They were actually second in the nation in pass plays, 68% passing to 32% running. So they are going to be pass heavy. They just don't like to run the football that much, and they bring back a lot of the same running backs here. So you just have to tread lightly there. I think I keep doing this just because they're APSU on DraftKings, but it's Austin Peay. I think they're good enough to kind of keep it close for a little while at least. And, this is the first game of the season. So, yeah, I still like the leverage at receiver. Someone like a Jalen Hall who comes over from Western Michigan, who was one of their best receivers in the, maybe in the MAC as well. And, also someone like Michael Matheson, who comes over from Akron. Those two guys transferred in from the MAC, and they were probably two of the better receivers there. The problem is, we don't know what this rotation is going to look like at all. They released a depth chart, but it didn't show any starters. It just showed all the receivers in a list. Yeah, we have no idea what it's going to look like, but going off talent, those two guys are really talented. We don't know what this rotation is going to look like at all.
Well, luckily it's the first game of the slate, so we will kind of have some news, maybe not all of it, right? That's why I got to get in the Discord chat over here at Run Pure Sports. Just use that code NFL15, get you 15% off your first payment. Actually, not for your first payment, gets it for life if you lock into that one. So it'll get you that one as long as you stick with us for monthly. You'll be locked into that one. So be sure to do that. Also, please like and subscribe to this video, guys. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate it over here at Run Pure Sports, and you'll get notified when we go live with all of our free content. And let me tell you, we have tons of good free content coming to you guys for the NFL season, college football season as well. So you do not want to miss out on that. Kurt, let's shift on over to you though. What are you doing with this game? I mean, again, it's a massive one, right? It's going to be a fun one to watch. I think a lot of people are going to be loading up on it. Are you going to load up on it? Maybe you're going to fade it and go to some other spots. What are you looking at here? Shoot, donkey, Kurt, you're on mute.
I'm doing my best Mangone impression.
I hate to see it.
So I'm going to set a rule, I think, for my hand builds in my own head, just to do. I want 2 pass catchers from WKU, whether it be I'm going to pick one of Corley and Hall, and then my next choice will be the cheap guy Davis, the tight end, or another one of those. I mean, they have like 5 guys you can consider, because last year it seemed like it was a revolving door for them as far as who went off. So I want to rotate all of them. And then I don't think I'm going to target a running back in this game yet. I'm going to have a lot of WKU quarterback. I'm going to target this offense. I mean, they put up points, and I'm going to eat the chalk on that, and I'll get different elsewhere.
All right. Do you like Dre McCray as a run back, Kurt? Like, he's definitely someone I think you can consider. I don't know. I think the App State, the idea that they're going to be down is obviously encouraging. And when a team is down, I want the guys that are throwing the ball to them, right? I want to get those wide receivers because they're just going to get more opportunity. When you're down, you're not running the ball unless you're like the New York Giants, like a bunch of morons doing QB sneaks on 3rd and 9 or whatever they did last year. But the point I'm getting at here is pass catchers on Appalachian State. Any interest in them, Kurt?
Yeah, I like that too, McCray. And also Evans. Wasn't Evans the receiving back for them, Bruce? Was that correct?
Yeah, that's right. CJ Evans.
Yes, I think he's a good run back too for that, Evans.
All right. Good stuff there. Snyder, let's go over to you. Obviously, it's one of the biggest games on the slate. I think that thinking more about this one, this is a good game to eat some of this chalk, and then maybe you look to fade some other high-owned spots and get different in those ways, right? Sometimes you can just fade a guy on let's say in baseball, let's say you fade a 50% owned pitcher and the guy gets dusted. Well, now you're already separated from the other 50%. So maybe that's a way to approach and just eat some of this chalk. What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be attacking this game quite heavily. Western Kentucky has a 46.5 point team total here, so definitely can't be fading that. I'm going to look to try and get a little bit different, though. I think like Corley, Dawood Davis are going to be two of the more popular guys. I was looking at the depth chart there, and Dalvin Smith, he's a big dude. It's like 6'3", played a little bit last year as a freshman. He's 3,500, and I don't think anybody's going to go to him. He's listed as one of the top 4 receivers on the depth chart, but who knows what the playing time is going to be like that. So I think I'm going to kind of mix him in there in a couple of these doubles, like play Dawood Davis, Dalvin Smith with Austin Reed. I do like Dre McCray best, bringing it back there on the other side. 4,700, had 882 yards and 8 touchdowns last year as a freshman, so I think he's a guy that could even take a step forward this year. This game should be a shootout. I think Peavy's going to be behind all this game. They're going to be chucking the rock. So I definitely like McCray bringing it back with some stuff like that. I think Dalvin Smith's one of my favorite tournament plays on the whole slate because hopefully he's in the starting. I mean, we really don't have much confirmation on the starting lineup and everything. Maybe we'll get more tomorrow before the game, but looking at the depth chart right now, he's one of the top 4. So I think I'm going to go to him some. I like Davis, Corley, Hall, Matheson. I think those guys are solid. I like Simon a lot more over on Fanduel. You can get him at 4,500 over on Fanduel. That's really going to open up a lot over there for you. So I'm going to target him more so on Fanduel, I think.
Well, I want to touch on this game a little bit more just because I thought you brought up some good points there, Snyder. And this is the game to talk about. There's other games that we're going to breeze through for sure pretty quick. Let me go back to you, Bruce. Dalvin Smith at 3.5K. Any interest in him? I mean, I think Snyder brings up good points about that. The thing I want to call out is Jalen Hall's 6.6K. I think he becomes the guy that gets probably the most overlooked. I think Corley and Davis are going to be the 2 guys that get gravitated towards the most. And then I think Hall could be that big guy that people don't want to spend that price tag on of 6'6" because they like going to the other 2 options where maybe he gets lost in the shuffle a bit. So touch on, we obviously know Corley, Davis, good plays. Touch on Hall and Smith a little bit for us here, Bruce.
Yeah, I actually have Hall in my main lineup at the moment, just because I loved him at Western Michigan. I see him projected for under 10% ownership at some of the sites I've looked at. So I'm guessing just because of that price, he's a really good pivot off of Corley. Also, I posted a little nugget in the chat of some of the guys that were called out as having a good scrimmage. I think this was on the 6th of August, so not too long ago. And Dalvin Smith was one of those guys, along with Jalen Hall and Dawood Davis. So this is a big play offense, and they do like to get the ball, move it around. And I love Snyder's idea of playing Simon on FanDuel. Yeah, you can do whatever you want after doing that.
Well, yeah, another thing to like too at that 3.5K with Dalvin Smith, 1, he doesn't have to do as much, and 2, when a team's like a 27 point favorite, sometimes you pull out the other guys that matter a little bit more, right? I mean, we'll talk about as we kind of move on to some of these other games that some guys might not get as much playing time. You get super tilted when your 4th quarter starts and your quarterback's not out there anymore. You could see that happen where maybe some of these other guys like a Dalvin Smith, who's technically going to run with the ones, but he might even get some major good time later on in the game. So something just to think about for sure. And again, 3.5K doesn't have to pay off as much. I think that's a pretty good one. Anything else you guys want to touch on here? Kurt, any final thoughts on this game, or do you want to move on over to the next one?
I'm really leaning on the tight end, Simon. He's a little expensive for a tight end, and I don't think people are going to want to play him. Just like Hall, you made a great point on Hall. He's going to go overlooked. It's going to be the cheap guy and Corley. They're going to be the chalkiest guys. Getting different on these WKU guys is the way to attack this game.
All right, let's shift on over to this next game. And we got to go to the Nebraska game, Northwestern. We got to go to Snyder to talk about the big corn real quick here. Talk about Palmer at receiver. I mean, I think he's a pretty interesting option. Overall, it's a 50 total. It's not incredible, but there are plays here I think we can go to. What's your kind of take on this one, Snyder? Nebraska, do they win by 1 million? And are we playing them in our DFS lineups?
I hope they win by 1 million. I placed a decent wager on them at minus 11.5 earlier, so hopefully that can come through. But definitely, Frost was getting a little bit of criticism from the media and whatnot, being on the hot seat or whatever. They asked what he was going to do when he played in Northwestern this week, and he's like, we're going to let it rip. I mean, they lost 7 games last year, I think, within 7 points. I mean, that was just absolutely absurd. He's had a lot of bad luck with that, but they bring in Mark Whipple over here. He had a pretty good Mark Whipple was a lot better at finishing drives and finishing games over there. So I think he's going to bring that over and kind of hopefully that meshes together and we can start finishing some of these drives where we go stagnant in the red zone and such and finish some of these games where we're losing a lot of close games. So hopefully that can mesh together. I do like Trey Palmer. He's going to come over from LSU. He was a big recruit over there. Follows his coach over here, Mickey Jacobson or Mickey. I think it's Mickey Jacobson's the wide receivers coach that came over from LSU here this year. So I definitely like him. Another guy I like is Marcus Washington. He's one of my favorite targets too for value options on this slate. He's 3,800. Played with Casey Thompson in Texas. He transferred here with him. So I think those two have been building chemistry, it sounds like, in camp. So I'm going to be having some Marcus Washington in a lot of my lineups too. It'll be interesting what they do with the running backs here. I think it's kind of going to be like a RBBC kind of. It sounds like 2 or 3 of these guys are kind of splitting the carries. But the one thing I will note is they are putting Ramir Johnson like in the slot, kind of moving him around, kind of putting him in some passing formations and such. So hopefully that can benefit him more so like on the PPR sites like DraftKings. I think the 5.4 price tag on him is really, really solid. He's actually 5.3 on Fanduel too, so that's a very cheap price tag on Fanduel for Ramir Johnson. Omar Manning, he's sounds like he's going to be the number one here. He's a returning starter from last year. I think a lot of people will kind of gravitate towards him and Trey Palmer when they stack this game up. But if they do let it rip here, I think they're going to play a lot more fast-paced this year. We saw Thompson, like Bruce saw Thompson firsthand at Texas. He had some big games down there when they kept the pocket clean. So if he can have a clean pocket and have a chance to throw the ball downfield, I definitely think Nebraska has a chance to kind of light up the scoreboard here at maybe some lower than a couple of these other games ownership-wise.
Yeah, Bruce, let's go over to you because Thompson, Washington, I don't know. Did they eat lunch together? Were they roommates? I had no clue. Maybe there's a little bit of a connection there. You never know. And this is a game where, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's like the best DFS game, but there's some good options. Like it's not one we can completely ignore. Like I think Evan Hull could be really intriguing at 6.3K. I mean, there's other running backs that people are gravitating towards, and I think Evan Hull could be interesting. So let's go over to you, Bruce. What are you doing with this game? It's a 50 total. I think it's one we should look at in DFS. Is this one you're going to get a lot of exposure to? Maybe you are going to play Thompson because I think he's in the mix, but he's clearly not one of the top like 2 or 3 quarterbacks here.
Yeah, the way I can see this game kind of going is I think Nebraska's defense is really improved this year, and I can see Nebraska scoring a lot of points. I don't think Northwestern is a very good offensive team, not at all. So I really like Casey Thompson here, just because Mark Whipple's offense was 6th fastest last season in pace, and I think he wants to go fast. That's just his thing. It was pretty balanced. So, you could see a good amount of running as well. The running back situation is hard to figure out. I really do like this junior college kid they got, Anthony Grant. He is actually a former Florida State commit and went the JUCO route and is back with Nebraska. He was the number 1 offensive junior college player. So, he's a solid player. It'll be fun to see him play. I really like Washington as well, as Snyder said. He's familiar with Thompson. Another thing to keep in mind is that Thompson was a little banged up at the end of last year. So people may remember that. Remember his end of the year performance where he was terrible. And
didn't he have a cut on his throwing hand or something like that?
Yeah, he hurt his thumb really bad on his throwing hand. So yeah, it's just the end of the year was so bad for him, and he can improve off of that. He looked so good at the beginning of the year. So we also had some notes in the chat about Omar Manning, and someone didn't see him out at practice. I don't know if we have any updates at that.
You guys getting booted off the team.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely important. Obviously, be in the Discord chat tomorrow. It's an earlier game, so we'll obviously talk about that. And that's why you gotta, sign up at Run Pure Sports. Be able to get in that Discord, get all those notifications. We'll at you guys to let you know. Bruce will be in there, and he'll update all the content for sure. And that'll be obviously valuable information. Anything else on that, Bruce, or should we shift on over to Kurt?
I think that's it for me.
All right, Kurt, what are we doing here with this game? Do you think it's one that you want to like stack up? I mean, you could make the stack work. You could even stack it where you play Thompson and some of these receivers, and you don't need the run back, right? I mean, that's definitely one way that you could just get exposure to a lot of points. And if they win by 1 million and Snyder's, jumping up and down, holding arm in arm with AP, you'd be pretty happy with him too if you stacked up Nebraska.
So I'm conflicted because I'm buying into that Nebraska's offense will be better this year. I'm completely buying into that. I think Casey Thompson will turn the ball over a lot less than Martinez, and I think he has more potential than Martinez. But I think we need to remind ourselves this is a Big Ten game. These aren't two prolific offenses, so let's be a little careful. And another thing, I'm not buying into Nebraska's defense improving. So I think I'm going to take a couple shots on Evan Hall and maybe Porter, but mostly Hall. Is that how you say his last name? Hall?
Yeah.
So Evan Hull, he played there last year too. And
I'm hoping they don't get
if they win though, like let's say they win, like he's going to be a focal point, right? Like sometimes in college football, we should talk about like game scripts. If you think that Northwestern is going to win, you want to have Evan Hull on your team. Let's at least just say that. So keep going there, Kurt.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. I don't really want to attack these Nebraska running backs yet. I do think what you all said about Grant, I can see that being. I'm going to do a Snyder approach, a wait and see for him. I'll play that guy in the Big Ten when they have a tough matchup and no one's going to play him. It'll be cheaper. But I'll take a wait and see on their rushing game. But I will go in on some Palmer, some Washington, maybe one more guy because I'm probably going to play 150 tomorrow. But that's how I'm going to approach it. I just be reminded this is a Big Ten game, guys, so don't go crazy. I mean, very, very unlikely that at the best case scenario, there's not going to be two guys in this game in the optimal. It's a Big Ten game, so just proceed with caution.
I just want to say one more thing for I wanted to hit on Northwestern's defense. They've only got 5 starters coming back from last year, and they gave up 455 yards a game there. This was one of Nebraska's 3 wins last year too, Kurt. Nebraska actually beat Northwestern 56-7 last year in Lincoln. That was one of their only wins last year. I think they're highly motivated here, and if they get a chance to put one on them, I don't think Frost is going to hold back at all this year. I think he's going for the jugular any and every chance he gets this year.
I'm buying into Nebraska. I'm one of my best friends a Nebraska fan, so and then you and AP are, so I'm with it. Let's go.
I'm not buying into like the whole season long Kool-Aid for Nebraska. I mean, I think they're going to win like 8 or 9 games, probably right on 8 games, but I do think this is one of them.
That'd be huge.
All right, cool. Well, let's go on over to the next game. Obviously, one to get exposure to, but we got a 51.5 total here, and it's Idaho and UNLV. Not a game I'm super excited about, but we should talk about it a little bit. Snyder, let's go back over to you. What do you want to do with this game? We got one thing to talk about for sure here. Aiden Robbins is kind of the one guy that's going to be really high owned. The price is 3.3K. Do you eat that chalk because of what it can do for your lineups, or do you make it a big fade and just kind of give a little bit of a different approach to the slate? What are you doing here, Snyder?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get too crazy here. I think he's going to be highly owned, but I don't think he's going to be high enough owned. I think he probably should be like 85% owned. He'll probably come in like 50%, I bet. But I'm just going to probably lock in Aiden Robinson to probably most, if not all, of my lineups tomorrow. I'm just not going to try and get cute. Starting running back here, transfers from Louisville. I think he's going to play really good here for UNLV. They've got a 36 point implied total. Idaho State is one of the worst teams in the country, so I'm definitely going to be on some UNLV there. It's interesting with the starters there. They haven't really listed a starter there. It's down to Brumfield and Bailey. If Bailey starts, he's only 4,500, so that's something to kind of look into tomorrow as the slates come, because that'll open up salary also. Sounds like we could have quite a few salary savers tomorrow, so just need to keep our eye on that. Kyle Williams, 72 targets last year, and their leading pass catcher is gone for him, so I think he's going to take a step forward. 6,300 is a good price tag for him, but mainly just looking at Aiden Robinson here in this game, and then Bailey if he gets a start or not.
All right, Bruce, let's go back over to you. Talk to me about this game. I mean, Robbins is definitely the one. Like, I'm going to have my single entry 3 max content up. I got some little bit of different stuff on it this time. Instead of having like 3 cores, I'm going to have like the chalk, the contrarian, and then like the game stack that I'm looking at. And like on the contrarian, I might not be playing Robbins. Maybe it's like a double spend up running back instead. What's your thoughts here on like how you're handling Robbins and how you're handling this 51 total?
Yeah, I'm locking him as well. He's just a big back, and they plan on running the football. I think they were top 10 or so in rush offense last year. So they do have a new offensive coordinator, but they'll keep the same offense. I think they brought in the Raiders wide receiver coach or something, just to call plays or coordinate the offense. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the QB battle is something to watch for sure. Harrison Bailey is from Tennessee, and he was a big recruit for them. And Brumfield was there last year. Brumfield actually has an 89.1 rush grade on PFF, and can run the ball really well. He could go under the radar if for some reason he starts. This Idaho State team is terrible. They were actually picked bottom of their conference, and so they should get annihilated on the ground. The wide receiver spot for UNLV is also interesting. It's going to go under owned for sure because Kyle Williams is really cheap or is really expensive, and he falls in that range with those Western Kentucky guys, along with Ricky White, who transferred in from Michigan State. Both of those guys are really explosive and can make plays and can break a slate if things fall right for them. On the other side, I don't have much interest in any of these Idaho State guys except for the salary saver that is Jalen Johnson. He transfers in from Arizona, and he was really solid for them last season as a freshman. So he's only 3K. He's Stone Min, 4,400 on Fanduel as well. So I don't mind him.
Cool. Kurt, finalize this one. Like, is this a game you want to play? Obviously, there's some options. We talk about the 3.3K option too, obviously, because that's a big talking point on the slate. Yes, this is not a game that you're looking to load up on, but there could be, a guy from this game in the optimal very easily. So what are you doing with this one, Kurt?
Yeah, I'm locking in Robbins like with the rest of you guys. He'll probably be like 75, 80, and it's probably not enough. I do want to have one of the receivers. Ricky White was really good to me at Michigan State, but Kyle Williams with that 23 or 25% target share last year, that's hard to ignore. So I definitely want one of those guys in my lineup. And then I think I will sprinkle the run back with the Idaho State guy. Hopefully they get down really like big time early and they're just chucking the ball like well into the whole second half. And I got that guy at Stone Min Price getting like 6 catches for like 58 yards or something. So, but that's about it. Just the 2 receivers, Robbins locking, and then maybe run it back with Johnson.
All right, fair enough. Let's go over to the next game. And lowest total on the slate, Wyoming and Illinois. But that's okay. You know why? This game could interact a little bit because it's not a huge spread. It's at 11, and this is where we could really see when the game kind of gets tight later in the fourth, right? And they're up and trying to hold that lead. Chase Brown just absolutely demolishes and just like owns the slate, right? He hasn't broken the slate yet. He's got like 20 DK points, and then boom, he rips one off for 60 yards and a touchdown, just breaks the slate completely. Bruce, you're nodding your head. Let's go over to you. Chase Brown, obviously a great play, but let's say Chase Brown is going to be very high owned, which he is going to be. Could you play the quarterbacks and receivers as some leverage, or are you interested in anyone on the other side instead?
Yeah, looks like he should be under 50%, which I don't think it's enough.
I don't buy that, by the way. He's going to be under. I don't think he'll be under 50%.
I think, yeah, it's going to be close. I could see some people on the Utah State guy as well. It just depends, but yeah, I love this spot for him. Wyoming's losing a lot on the defensive side. And this is a team that wants to establish it for sure. I think they were close to 60% run last year. 58%. So Bielema loves to keep it on the ground. I think we played him week 1 last year, and he disappointed. I think he got hurt or something. Who knows? But I love this spot for him. He's going to get his 100 yards, TD or 2. He can catch the ball. He can pretty much do it all. Their offensive line is solid as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to stay away mostly from the Wyoming side. I guess someone to watch for Illinois on as a receiver is Isaiah Williams. He converted from quarterback and is explosive as well. Catches everything that's thrown his way. Had 4 TDs last season. A cheap guy to watch, got wide receiver for Illinois' Brian Hightower. He came over from Miami, played 4 games last year and decided to take a red shirt. But yeah, he's explosive and just a good value play there.
Cool. Let's go on over to you, Snyder. What are you doing with this game? Illinois, obviously Chase Brown, going to be a good play. Are you loading up on him? Maybe it's Calvin Tyler instead. What are you doing here with this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting point there you made with Chase Brown versus Calvin Tyler. I mean, if you play both of them together, I think that's going to be very unique. I think they're going to pick one or the other. Wyoming was pretty bad against the run last year. Gave up 187 yards on average last year. 7,900 is a fair price tag. He had over 1,000 yards last year, nearly average 6 yards a carry. So I'll be on some Chase Brown tomorrow for sure. But that's probably going to be the only play from this game for me. I mean, it's got a 44-point total. Illinois is favored by 11. I do think Illinois can win by more than 11 points, so I don't mind splashing that even too from the betting standpoint. But I'll have some Chase Brown in my lines for sure tomorrow.
Cool. Kurt, before we go to Kurt, I want to ask you a question, Bruce. Illinois, the backup running back. Is there any way like you could gain some leverage on that? Like where if they got up big early, do they somehow put in the secondary running back instead for cheaper? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they have 3 solid running backs behind Brown. McCray would be the first guy in. And, he averaged about 4 yards after contact last season, which is pretty close to tops on the slate behind Brown.
Any vulture opportunities there with him? Like, because that's the one thing we see sometimes, right? We see like the main running back just pound it down and like do the entire drive. And then boom, like the other running back comes in and steals the 6 points. And that could add up over time, especially if it does blow out.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last year, which, it's possible. Chase Brown had 5. So, yeah, it's possible he could do that. He is 5,100 still. So, yeah, you're still paying up a little bit for him. But, they're going to run the football. So he should get some carries for sure.
Cool. Let's go over to you, Kurt. 44 total. Full fade or are you getting some exposure to it?
I want to do a little bit, not too much. Like, I don't want the pass catchers or the quarterback or anything because, like, both these teams, I mean, the Wyoming's going to run the clock out like crazy. But I kind of want to play Titus a little bit because I know he's going to get, like, 25 carries. He's going to run into the line of scrimmage most of those carries. But, hey, if he gets, like, 20, maybe he breaks one or something. I like Valladay he would break, like, 80 yards for us sometimes. I mean, I know it's not the greatest matchup, but for 6K, if he breaks one, give me some Titus. Plus, it's a cool name. So I will sprinkle Titus, even the bad matchup. I'm going to have a lot of Chase Brown. He's been good to me through the years. That's about it. I think God, remember when last year we had to play Reggie Love and Hayden a little bit because with the Brown oh, man, those guys suck. Thank God McCray's there because I hate those bums. Yeah, that's
All
it
right,
for me.
Cool. Let's get out of this game. Again, it's a 44 total, lowest on the slate, but can't be completely ignored. Let's go over another one. It's a pretty good one. It's a 59.5 total. It's UConn and it's Utah State. And this is a game that we got to talk about because this could be like the game that maybe wins you the GPPs. And I'll mention why here in a second. Before we do that, though, guys, please like and subscribe to this video. Helps out a ton over here at Run Pure Sports. And if you want to get all of our core plays, you want to get the playbook, you want to get my breakdown, you want to get everything that we have, be in that Discord chat, talk some college football, and see all the NFL stuff. It's not just college football that you're getting. You're not just getting the college football package. You're getting NFL. You're getting MMA. You're getting all the sports for one price. Use that code NFL15. Get you 15% off for life when you sign up for a monthly payment. You'll be riding with us the rest of the way if you want to. If you want to just get out of that one, you're perfectly fine. You can just leave. And listen, we're not going to give you your money back or anything, but this is what we'll do. We're going to make sure that you guys get winners, and you're going to keep winning, and you're going to stick with us because that's what we do here at Run Pure Sports. So use that code NFL15, gets you 15% off. So let's go over to this next game, though, and talk about it again. 59.5 total. You got some pretty good options and some pretty good receivers that I think could be some difference makers on this slate, and a quarterback that could be the guy that ends up being the winner that could be a little bit lower owned because everyone is gravitating towards Reed on this slate. Bruce, let's go over to you and talk about it. Kick off this game. It's a 59.5 total, and it's one that I think is like the secondary stack game that if you did try to not play the Western Kentucky stack, this might be the one you go to.
Yeah, definitely. The Utah State offense has been so explosive and fun to watch. They spread it out quite a bit. On the edge, they have the crime dog, Justin McGriff, 6'7" wide receiver. That's a big threat near the red zone. So I like targeting him. He's expensive as well. So the ownership probably will come in lower than expected. They bring in Brian Cobbs also from Maryland. And he's a little pricey too. So, ownership should be lower there. They also have Xavier Williams. They brought in from Bama. He's not listed as a starter, but he's explosive as well. They have so many guys that are going to be underowned against a UConn team that's been terrible the last few years. So it's definitely a huge GPP spot with so many people on that Western Kentucky game. And we already went over the running backs earlier. Calvin Tyler, he's a transfer in from Oregon State, had a big year last year. He's a little bit smaller, but this UConn defense is just bad. On the UConn side, it depends on their quarterback. They had a quarterback battle. I really like this Taquan Robertson guy. Comes over from Penn State. He is a dual threat running quarterback. And, if he plays, maybe keep this game a little bit closer than expected. And he's only 5,700 on Draftkings.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's a great game. And obviously you got Tyler is going to have like the perfect, opportunity to score a lot of touchdowns. The game script's going to be good. But there's some leverage opportunity with these receivers for sure. Snyder, you're shaking your head. Yes. It seems like you're in on this game. I'm definitely in on it, but I figured out like my right approach on it. I think Cobb's is a great option. That's definitely a guy I'm looking to go to. What's your thoughts here on this one, Snyder?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be attacking this game quite a bit too. It doesn't have quite as big of a team total as Western Kentucky, but it's really close at 44 points. So definitely think there's a lot of targets here. They lost Devin Tompkins last year in 138 of his targets. They're going to be spread around now. Logan Bonner's a fine option, 8,600. I think he'll come in a little lower owned than the others. I think he's still going to project pretty well. Calvin Tyler. I think Calvin Tyler and Chase Brown, I think they both come in maybe right around 35%. But like I said, I don't think many people are going to play them together. So one way to get unique, if you're going to play that Western Kentucky game and play a couple of value pieces, jamming those two stud running backs there to kind of get a little different there. So I'll have some Tyler. I think Justin McGriff's a fine option. 35 catches last year, 414 yards and 6 touchdowns. Brian Cobbs comes over from Maryland. He had a couple big games there. Don't mind him. Kyle Van Leeuwen, 4,200. He didn't do much last year, but I think this year maybe he takes a little step forward and gets more incorporated in this offense. He only had 8 catches last year, but I think that's a good value piece there. Pretty much, yeah, I think that's all I got here. It's just looking to spread out this offense quite a bit there. Probably Calvin Tyler's my favorite option. I think they could get up big here, and it's interesting to see how long some of these starters will play, though, if they get up to a huge lead. But that's always a little bit of a risk there. But I think they're gonna definitely put the points up.
Yeah, great points there. Let's go over to you, Kurt. Hey, this could be a game where maybe you do the game stack, but you don't do the run back, right? Maybe a lot of people force in a bad UConn run back that's not necessary, and you just end up getting a better play in there that kind of makes the difference for you. What's your thoughts on that, Kurt, and how are you handling this 59.5 total?
I'm going to attack it. I'm going to do the receivers. I'm going to treat them like I do the WKU receivers because these late night slates for Utah State, I always had the wrong receiver. So I'm going to rotate. I want to have probably one of the receivers in my lineup. I want to have McGriff, Cobbs, maybe even the cheap guy that Snyder mentioned. I want to have one piece of these guys because one of them will go off, as I've seen in the past. Tyler's a great play. Bonner's a great play. They'll be high owned for a great reason. Rotating those guys. For UConn, I want to believe that they'll keep it within 30-ish. Because I want them to be decent. Jim Moore is there, former Falcons coach, maybe. But it's hard to have a run back. I don't have one right now. Maybe I'll have one tomorrow, but as of right now, I'm just going all Utah State.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. Feel free, like, you don't have to do the run back every time. Look and see what it can do. Find ways to be different in your lineup. Sometimes being different in your lineup is, like I said, fading like that 3.3K running back. I'm not saying it's what you should do. I'm just saying think about ways that you can do it to make your construction different than the field. Those are important things to do in college football DFS, and not just college football, anything, right? If everyone's paying up a pitcher that day and you got to lean on something for some cheap pitchers in baseball, go to those cheap pitchers. Take a chance on that. And listen, if your path wins, you're going to be, without a lot of people. You're going to be kind of by yourself. So if you do fade the 3.3K running back, that could be a huge thing for you. So let's go on over to this final game. Before that, though, guys, please like and subscribe to this video. Helps us out a ton. This is our first college football show. We're going to be doing shows throughout the year for you guys for sure. But I do want to mention, we're going to give out some plays of the day. We typically like to have a certain number of likes. So I'm letting you guys be ready. Bruce, Kurt, Snyder, have a play ready. And we're not going to ask you, X amount of likes, right? We're just going to give it its week 0. But who knows? Maybe some of the other ones, maybe we'll kind of cut it loose. We'll have to see. But let's go over to this last game, final one, and it's Florida State, and it's I can't say this name. It's how do you say
Duquesne.
it? Duquesne, that's what it is. Okay, well, I'm not trying it. It's some names I see, and I'm just like, nope, not giving that one a shot. But Florida State, let's talk about them, because I heard you say something. I think it was Snyder said it earlier. He said like this team has like a 44 team total, and I'm not fading them. But I don't know, like, if any of these guys on Florida State might end up being on the optimal. Like, yeah, they have a massive total, but there's a chance they're not on the optimal, as crazy as that sounds. And that's because you got Jordan Travis. And Jordan Travis, running quarterback, he could easily lose to Austin Reed. You could have the double spin up at quarterback, be the move that works, and there's all these cheap values. But they could also pull him early. That is definitely a concern. I mean, they don't want him to get hurt. On top of that, they have a mixed bag at receivers, a mixed bag at running backs, where if you could tell me this team is going to put up a lot of points, I'd be interested, but I don't know who it's going to be. So let's go to Bruce. You're the heavy hitter. You're the guy that can always find those gems for us. Are there any gems here in this game? Because we know a lot of points are going to be put up here.
Yeah, I just love Trayshawn Ward at running back, 6,100. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. Just really explosive. Looking at the defense for Duquesne, they have some bigger linebackers that are good for run stopping, I guess. And he's just going to make those guys look silly in space. He's just too explosive for this game. I think he breaks one or two for a long game. If you look at Florida State's past performances, the last couple of years, they've underperformed against teams that they should beat, and this is one of those teams that they should just absolutely smash. So, we could see this game kind of be closer than it should be. I just love the running game here for Florida State. Quarterback Travis and all the running backs. Benson comes over from Oregon. He's solid, and then Toafili, he's kind of the power back there for Florida State. So those guys are guys I'd be targeting if playing guys from this game.
Cool. Well, I'm very excited to see if anyone ends up being on this winning team. I thought you brought some really good points there, Bruce. Let's go over to you, Snyder. What are you doing with Florida State? Or are you playing any Duquesne as run backs? Anything crazy like that? Doesn't seem like the right move, but I don't know. Maybe you got a gem for us.
No, Duquesne will be the third team I fade tomorrow, so I will not be on them. Definitely going to have some exposure to some Florida State, though. Pretty good sizable team total here, like you said. 48 is their team total. Big favorites, so favored by 40 points. Interesting how long some of these starters do play. Like you said, it's definitely a risk there. I think Jordan Travis is going to be probably the second highest owned quarterback. I think it's going to be Austin Reed. He's going to have a ton of ownership, maybe 60, 70% there. And then like Jordan Travis will be like 35% as well with then we'll have like Logan Bonner will probably be right there with Jordan Travis, probably right around that 30, 35%. And then Casey Thompson will probably come in fourth highest owned. So I'm going to have some exposure to Jordan Travis. Like you said, he's got huge rushing upside. Ran for over 700 yards last year, 7 TDs on the ground. So definitely want some exposure to that. A few receivers I'll be looking at. Trayshawn Ward, Lawrence Toffoli, he's 5'3". Tayshawn Ward, 6'1". Trey Benson, 6'5". I think I'm going to be out on Micah Pittman, though. He transfers over from Oregon. He's got a generous price tag over on Fanduel. He's 6'8" on Fanduel, which is better than the 7'5" here on DraftKings. So probably still going to be off him. He transferred out of Oregon because he wasn't getting enough targets over there, and he comes into another situation where there's 3 or 4 guys he's going to be battling with here. So that'll be interesting there. I probably will be off of him. I think he'll maybe be one of the more higher-owned guys just because he's got the name. 7'5" is a little too expensive, though, for me, I think. So mainly just some naked Jordan Travis's for me as like a QB2.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Snyder wants Travis naked. That's what you just said, Snyder. Not me. I didn't say it. You said it. So let's go over and talk about some Florida State guys real quick. Kurt, before I go to you, I do want to ask Bruce one question because I noticed this a little bit last year with Wilson. Ontario Wilson, he started kind of becoming like more involved in the offense, and maybe like that kind of shifts over to the start of this year. Do you think that Wilson is going to be in play as a really good contrarian option? And the other thing I like about him, he's a guy, he can just catch one and he's gone, right? Like it's a long touchdown. Yes, he's not a PPR guy, but he can easily just catch the first touchdown and be out there with like 15 fantasy points to start things off.
Yeah, 5 TDs a year ago. He's explosive. So yeah, he's fun to watch. And him and
says I think he got some of them late in the year, right? Or no?
Yeah.
It seemed like he emerged. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got him late in the year. He got too late, and then it just seemed like he was a guy that I just remember like Florida State's receivers were back forth, and it just felt like he kind of came out on top. And maybe like there's a report in camps that like this spring that he just like emerged and became like the number 1 now.
Yeah, it's been him and Johnny Wilson have been the 2 talks of camp so far. Johnny Wilson's a 6'8" wide receiver transfer from Arizona State. Yeah, so both of those guys have been solid in camp supposedly. So yeah, Ontario Wilson would be a good GPP play. No, hardly anybody's gonna have in their lineups.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Kurt, what's your thoughts? Do you have any Wilson exposure? Do you like Ward, or are you playing any run backs? I assume you're not. This seems like a good spot to fade. You said you might play in 150 lineups, though, so who knows? Maybe you're trying to get exposure to every game. What's your thoughts?
So I'm a Florida State fan, so I had to watch most of that terrible year last year. First thing,
it's not just last year, Kurt. It's been
a while. Yeah. It's been ever since Jimbo left.
That one because one of my best friends is a Florida State fan, and I watched all the Winston years, and then I got to watch the years after, and it was not fun. So yeah,
bad. Yeah, I miss Jimbo. So Travis is probably the only quarterback on the slate tomorrow that can break an 80-yard run. So for GPPs, great option there. My strategy so far was to pair him with Wilson because there was a couple times last year, maybe 3 or 4, where him and Wilson were just so close on long, like just absolute bombs. So they've had more time to work together just Travis. Another thing I want to mention, totally forgot about UConn. If Roberson ends up starting for UConn, a couple of my Travis shares will pivot to Roberson and kind of find somewhere else to spend the money there. Because that guy is Penn State transfer, rushing quarterback. If we get confirmation that he's going to be full starter, no rotating bullcrap, I'm fine with going him. Ward, I think Ward's a little bit too cheap. I think he should be like $7K here. I agree with Bruce. I'm excited to see what the kid can do. And I know they're going to be a little bit running back by committee, and Tofu's probably going to take some goal line snaps. But, hey, if you break a 60-yarder, you don't need a goal line back. So give me some Ward, Wilsons. I'm not paying for – I hated Pittman at Oregon. I'm not paying 7-2 for Pittman on Florida State. Not a freaking chance.
Yeah, he's 7'5". What are they doing?
Horrible. Hate that guy. Hate him.
He was 3K last year at Oregon a lot of times.
And he still screwed me with a goose every time.
He
sucks.
He screwed me a lot. I didn't like him that much, but yeah, Pittman's definitely not a guy I'm looking to spend on. That will definitely be the first X of the slate. If I have to go in and grab one and X him out, that's probably the guy. I'll just say that. That is one of the most overpriced plays. But listen, we went through every single game. If you could please like, subscribe, but we're going to give those plays out anyways. Don't you worry. And again, subscribe to that channel so you can get notified when all of our shows go live. And we got a ton of NFL content coming your way for free over here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. So you do not want to miss out on that. But Hey, let's shift on over to these plays. Let's go to you first, Snyder. Who do you got? I feel like it's gonna be Western Kentucky guy. Maybe I end up being wrong. So let's hear it. Who is your play of the week 0 slate?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go a little more contrarian than, I definitely could go with any of those Western Kentucky guys or Utah State guys or any of those guys, but I'm going to go with a little shower narrative here. I'm going to go with Thompson to Marcus Washington. I like Marcus Washington tomorrow, 3,800. I think that's a great price point. I did a little bit of Twitter searching too on the Omar Manning deal. Nothing's confirmed or nothing. There's a couple of questions out there wondering if he suffered a concussion or not. So that's definitely something to monitor as we get closer. And I also seen some photos out there. I mean, man, nobody travels like Nebraska. I mean, it doesn't matter if we're 3-8 or whatever it is. It looked like there was 30,000 fans expected to be in over in Ireland for this game. I seen some Necessary Roughness posted a tweet out. I retweeted it. Pretty interesting there. Just a ton of Husker fans, so I think they're going to come in. We're going to roll, so I'm going to go with Marcus Washington as my play of the day at 3,800.
All right, cool. Good call with that one. Let's go to Kurt next. Kurt, who's your guy? Who's the play of the day for the people?
I was torn between two, but I'm going to go Justin McGriff, Utah State, 6,800 wide receiver. He's going to be the Utah State receiver that goes for a 30 burger.
All right, so that's kind of funny you say that, Kurt. You know why? Because I'm going with Mr. Cobbs.
Okay,
Cobbs is my guy. I think I'm going to go to. He's been showing out in camp. He's looked good, and I think it's a good spot for him. So I'm going to go with Cobbs, and he might even leverage on to Tyler, or you can play both. Don't be afraid to play both together, and then even not play Bonner. Sometimes people don't like that. Let's say you play Cobbs and you play McGriff together. People might say, "Oh, you have to play the quarterback as a run back." You don't have to, technically, right? I think both could get there. And then you could easily have, Reed be the quarterback, and it could be Jordan Travis even naked, because he could easily just go for a monster game running. I mean, if he rips one off for 80 yards to kick off the game for a touchdown because of how fast he is, well, then, that's just going to be on the winner more than likely. So definitely something to look at and consider of just ways to make your team different. Another thing I want to call out, I just kind of thought lineup construction is interesting. Let's say you play Robbins, you play Washington, and you play Smith for Western Kentucky, who Snyder liked. And if you play Smith, not saying you have to fade all the other expensive Western Kentucky guys, but if he goes off for a big game, then there's maybe a chance some of those other guys aren't on the winning team. How much money is left over? Well, you got almost $8K left for your last 5 spots. So the point I'm getting at is if you go double cheap at receiver and then you pull Robbins out of there, instead, maybe you put in I know Bruce talked about Ward, he's 6'1", and you put in Chase Brown, I'm left with 7.2K for, let's see, quarterback, receiver, flex, and super flex. And listen, I'm not giving anything out. I'm not giving out a full lineup or anything like that. But the point I'm getting at is think about how Aiden Robbins cannot be on that winning lineup. Some construction points of how that can get there. And maybe that's a way that you're just quick and different. Not saying that you should fade him by any means, but he will be 70% owned. He'll be 75, maybe even 80. He's going to get up there. People are going to jam him in there. So it's just something to think about, especially if you're like Kurt, you're playing 150 lineup. So let's go over to you, Bruce. Give your play of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, I like Simon, the tight end from Western Kentucky, Joshua Simon. He's going to be. I'm going to feature him heavily in GPPs. I think he's just too good of a player. Like I said earlier in the show, 3 catches last year in the one game he played before blowing out his knee, 2 touchdowns, over 70 yards. He's just a wide receiver in a tight end's body. So
that was who I was debating between. It was him and McGriff. So I'm glad I'm in good company.
Let's do it.
Well, I do want to mention we have a question in the chat. JB Hughes 2012. He is asking about the Fanduel slate. And if you guys have any Fanduel thoughts, feel free to throw them in there. Touching on what Bruce just said, Simon, right? He's 4-5. We talked about it before on FanDuel. You plug him in, okay, you got $9,000 or more for those spots. So does anyone have any FanDuel takes for us that they can give us? Or maybe we just save them for the Discord chat and for the cores that we got going up. Snyder, you want to start?
Yeah, Simon's the guy I'd play over there. Ramir Johnson, I'd play over there, 5'3". We'll find some more. We'll put them in the Discord, though. We'll save some of those on Nuggets. I know Bruce has got some special notes in the playbook over there for the Fanduel slate. So he's got a little Fanduel overview on the playbook and some extra notes on the guys that are on the Fanduel only slate as well.
Cool. At first glance, I see, Chase Brown is 8-8 right over there. Like he's cheaper than Ward, which is kind of interesting. Maybe Ward just goes like completely overlooked on that site. Bruce, maybe touch on some of those nuggets or maybe just touch on one, whatever you want to do. What do you got here for us?
For the Fanduel slate, you're asking? Mainly just going to lock Simon in at 4,500 just because he allows you to get whatever you want elsewhere. And, just going to attack the games we talked about here. I'll put some more nuggets in there on the playbook as well. So once I get that up, and then we'll talk about the late slate later in the chat, probably tomorrow.
For sure. And listen, if you haven't signed up at Run Pure Sports, use that code NFL15, get you 15% off for life. You'll always be locked into that one. Monthly payments. And Bruce, we have a late slate content, right? So don't forget about that. I know you just mentioned it. How many games are on that late slate? How many?
5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. We'll definitely get after that. We'll see. I didn't know how good the late slate would be. We'll have to see. I haven't checked it out yet. Do you know what the prize pool is up top? Have they posted that out there yet?
Yeah, they're not horrible. Just kind of like last year. I think they can increase because we have some more states that are allowing college DFS, which is great.
That's big time. Let's go.
You'd love to see that. But yeah, I think they're pretty solid. 10K to first on a night slate is not horrible.
Yeah, that's not bad. And like I said, JB,
definitely get up there too.
What?
They'll definitely get up there too as the season goes. I know the night slates were like some of our most profitable slates last year. The Bruce has that night slate playbook dialed in, and we just crushed that night slate.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't play the night slate as much as I probably feel like I should have. I still had a great year. It was fun, but I think I'm gonna dabble more in the night slate for sure. Kurt, give those final FanDuel thoughts, and then we'll think about getting them out of here.
What's the Austin Peay wide receiver? Is he a little bit cheaper on FanDuel somehow? If so, that would kind of interest me a little bit. If he's like almost min over there.
It looks like McCray is 7.5, so no, he's not cheap over there.
Whoa.
Then he's not too cheap over there.
Yeah, so not much thoughts from me. I'll post in chat if I get something. I might enter depending on what their GPP is, but I'll post it in chat.
It's not bad. Their main is like a $9 10K to first. It was better than I thought it would be for week 0. And you know what they might have? They might have some overlay on some NFL tickets. They've been having those in MLB, so I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, like what these sites are doing is when NFL comes around and they're like a couple weeks away, instead of just like they know things are going to overlay, so they just have these like free contests to help you play in other sports, and they overlay a ton. So they're kind of donating a little bit, but they're also making sure they don't just have to give them for free on Sunday instead. That you're trying to play them as well. So, but that's final thoughts here. I guess before we get on out of here, Bruce, I guess go through like the rundown of all the content we got for the people, and don't forget too, like we got slates during the week too, right? We got stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well.
Yeah. Of course we have the Discord chat, which is always important. Any injury, breaking news, that sort of thing we'll have in there. We'll have playbooks for the main slate, which is up right now. The late slate as well. There's even a 2-game late night slate, which should be fun. I think Hawaii's on there, which we have fun with those. And then, you of course have the 3 max. I don't know if that'll be up this week, but it'll be up eventually. And you always do well with those in baseball. So we have all that, and we have our cores, of course, and just looking forward to a great season. We should have a fun college football season ahead of us.
Yeah, it should be. My stuff should be up. I told Captain, like, hey, I already started typing in it, so it's there's things up there. So, but you should get it on the back end, I think. Snyder, final thoughts before we get on out of here.
Yeah, pumped. Looking forward to this season here with you guys. Definitely join the movement with us over there. Use that promo code NFL15. That'll get you 15% off for life. All sports, one price, Discord, everything, Saber Sims included. So head on over and join the movement.
Cool. So yeah, Kurt, final thoughts, and are we getting a Kurt core? I mean, are we gonna get you on the site there for a core?
Am I up there? Is there a spot for me?
I don't know.
Yeah, just add yourself. We'll get you in
Yeah,
there.
I'll definitely post one. They gotta have the GPP core.
Yeah, we'll have to remodify. I mean, we'll have the slot. We'll find a way. But give your final thoughts before we get on out of here.
I'm glad it's back, man. Football is my passion. It's just different. I just feel something different when I'm watching it. I'm so excited. Leagues are about to change. Everyone's favorite time of the year. It's like Christmas for like 2 or 3 months, and I'm ready to go. We'll have the preseason. Hey, don't forget about NFL preseason now too. I'll have the playbook out for that tomorrow, so you can have time to get your lineups in by 12. Play a little preseason, then 7 o'clock college football slate. Busy day tomorrow, guys.
All right, busy day it is, but we're going to get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys, over on the Run Pure Sports channel. Hit the like, subscribe before you get out the door if you have not. But for me, Mangone, Snyder, Kurt, Bruce, we'll see you guys later.